right, yo, what's up, everybody? It's Tuesday. It's 3 p.m. You know what time that is. Um, Thanks for starting us off with a subscription right off the bat, Horror Rocks. I appreciate it.
Holy beans!
And Horror Rocks says, type it in the chat, boys. Oh, wait. Yeah, the Pokemon stuff is gone. What up, the business? Hope you guys have been having a good start to your week. And yeah, so we've got a little bit of a show today. I'm more excited about next week's show. I don't know about
Hmm.
you. What do we have
We're in
next
a bit
week?
of a mishmash as we tried to look for something to talk about because I thought it was pretty slow with game news, but then I found a tab, opened it, then I found another one, and another one.
Now, what do we have going on next week?
Next week is when we talk to the Garden Pod developers, right?
Hmm. Yeah,
Dang.
yeah. So the developers for Garden Paws, which is a game that you can get on Steam right now, that's coming to Switch later this year, are coming on the show to talk about their game. It was a Kickstarter game that got funded and it just kind of ran crazy, and it actually became one of my most anticipated games for the end of last year. To be honest, I made sure we got it as soon as it came out. It was just one of those games, and you guys will hear a lot more about it. Plus, I'm sure we'll probably have like some video clips. And if you haven't seen it, we did stream it. Actually, we streamed it back when it was a demo. We streamed it when we first got it, and we streamed it again. Was it last Monday or Tuesday, huh?
Yeah, I think so. So is that one even still here, or would they have to go to like your YouTube where you put them so they stay?
I think the older one, the demo version, is on YouTube, but for the video on demand, they hang around for 30 days. So
Oh, okay.
once you're an affiliate,
Sweet.
they last a little bit longer. So, um, man, I don't know what to say. You
So
know,
what should be first?
people were talking about this new PlayStation State of Play, uh, trying to copy Nintendo Direct. And I don't know. Like I wasn't. Like I watched it this morning, and I just really,
I forgot to actually watch it.
I just, I just really wasn't that impressed. Like the lineup of games that they had.
Mm.
Um, okay, so they had a kind of like a polished remake, sort of Crash Team Racing that looked okay. Uh,
The bonus to that is I think it said they also are going to put the Nitro racing content into it, which I guess was a totally different racing game. Well, I
hmm
mean separately. So I guess you're getting two racing games in one if you liked Crash Racing.
yeah, and I wasn't really into that, but I understand that was like PlayStation's kind of trying to answer Mario Kart in a way. Didn't go over so well before, but I guess with the Crash Bandicoot remakes, like the Insane Trilogy and stuff, and it's just kind of, I don't know. I don't like. I'm loving all these remakes, but I don't want it to get like how movies are, where it's like we don't get any original stuff because it's all just remakes of stuff that came out before. But I am loving it in some instances, like with Spyro, of course. I mean, that just looks fantastic. So, um,
I wonder if they're going to try and bring back the Spyro Crash crossovers or rivalries they had going for a while there.
hmm, maybe. I know that yesterday, a buddy of mine, one of the guys that lives here locally, that just started streaming, named Grant. He goes by the Grantage on
Mm.
Twitch. He actually works at that big gaming store that you like, out here.
Oh, right.
And Grant was going for affiliate, and he's been streaming for a while, and his first whole like video game stream was Chrono Trigger, and he's one of those guys that likes to like voice act everything out. And after he was done with Chrono Trigger, he was like, well, I don't know what to play, so I suggested Skies of Arcadia, and he actually started playing it, and he seemed to like it, and he did get affiliate last night, so I sent a congratulations out to him. I did toss him a pretty large host yesterday. It was like 130
Oh,
130
nice.
viewers. And I asked everybody on stream. I said, look guys, do me one favor. I know most of you are here because of the Pokemon stuff or whatever, but and I may never see some of you again, but do me this one last favor, and everybody come over here and hit follow and like and all that kind of stuff. And so we really hooked Grant up, and he got his affiliate, and now he's playing Skies of Arcadia. And if they were ever gonna like do an HD remaster of a game, um, I would love that. I would
I
love for.
would too because I always wanted to play it since I found out about it a few years back, but I still haven't ever tried it.
Yeah, I mean, it was so after Final Fantasy VII, I started looking for like the next kind of RPG, and that one was a little bit different, but there were some similarities. And at the time, it came out on the Dreamcast, which was slightly better graphics, and so I got hooked on it right off the bat, and pretty easy too. And I'm glad to see Grant playing it. I actually stayed on his stream for about um I probably stayed there for 4 hours watching him play it. So
And you said he likes to voice act stuff, so I'm sure he made it kind of fun with that if
yeah,
he
he
did it.
he does. And he does the different voices for each character and stuff. And I know we've seen some games like when Chucklefish did their Stardew. They did that. They had the
Yeah,
guy.
I watched Markiplier do some voices with the Stardew beginning just to get the Stardew fix before it was released because I was like going nuts with waiting for it.
Mm-hmm.
And I liked his mayor voice or whatever. And for a while there, I was watching Game Grumps play Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door. And of course, Mario doesn't talk, but one of them did a pretty good impression of Mario if he could talk, so it was pretty funny with that.
That and I mean, there's a lot of games that I've played that when it gets to that dialogue where there's no actual voice acting, which is rare in newer games, but
Mhm.
I do kind of sometimes when I'm playing it on stream or even play, there's a temptation of me to want to voice act that. So I
Mhm.
give him all the kudos in the world for
Especially when there's a lot of dialogue. It's like, I don't want these people to get bored reading all this, or if I read faster than they do.
sure.
But
And
I personally can't do voices.
yeah, well,
I
well,
can either go really high pitched or maybe slightly lower, and that's about it.
well, kudos for him for
Yeah.
having the guts to do that. And yes, HD remasters are awesome as long as they don't change much. Horror Rocks mentioned that,
Mhm.
and I agree. And that's one thing that
Or a remake,
yeah,
or
that's what
remaster, or whatever.
has me worried about the Final Fantasy VII remake, because
Mhm.
that's not going to be an HD remaster. They're like
Yeah, they're
completely.
actually remaking it, and I think they even said they were going to change the battle system.
Yeah, and see, to me, that's bad.
Mm.
The thing that I like about Final Fantasy VII was the turn-based battle system, and I noticed in some of the preview stuff that they showed, and of course it could all just be cinematic, but it did look like some of it was actual gameplay.
Mhm.
But it looked like it was gonna have like stealth missions and stuff like that,
Just
which
don't shove a Mercedes into it.
yeah, don't do that, and don't turn it into Final Fantasy Battle Royale. And
Mm.
I'll be okay. I'm about sick of the battle royale games. But I will say this: I was very disappointed with the upcoming PlayStation titles from that state of play, but
You found something that caught your interest?
mostly because they were all virtual reality games for the VR, and I understand like they have to start making some games for that because there's like what 5 games for it, and
It
uh,
might be another PlayStation Move situation if they don't.
right. And so I didn't really care because some of them were titles that were already out, but just like a VR version, which is what they've done to some of the other games like Skyrim and whatnot. So they like they have No Man's Sky VR, and I don't know. So, but there were like 2 or 3 titles that caught my eye, and the Crash was one. The other was this kind of weird dungeon crawler where it's co-op. And at first I was like, "Oh man, I might want this. Like this looks like it could be an interesting game because it had kind of like the little cutesy graphics, and it was a dungeon crawler, and it's online multiplayer co-op, and it's like you and a friend, you go through this entire dungeon and you collect all the loot and everything, and then all of a sudden the game just took the nastiest turn. It was like, first of all, you and your friend are actually racing against two other people, two other random people who are also going through the same dungeon. So you're trying to see who finishes the dungeon first, and then whoever does gets extra bonus power and strength, and then you have to fight those other two people in order to keep all the loot that you got plus take their loot. So now I went from being like a cutesy dungeon crawler to, okay, now they just took it
To
away
winner
because
takes
yeah,
all.
I don't want this PvP element. Like
Hmm.
I would have played it otherwise.
Yeah, I mean, I personally don't care for that either because I like co-op better than playing against people, but I could see the appeal in it because I have played tabletop games like what the heck? I can't remember the name of it. Um, the one with the haunted house, the house on the hill or something like
Oh
that.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember the name because I'm a dumb right now. But it starts off co-op and you're trying to help each other out and get out of this nasty mansion while you guys don't hopefully lose your mind. But then along the line, when certain conditions are met, depending on the omens and the artifacts and the items and maybe even the character, then at some point someone gets revealed as the villain.
Yeah.
So it starts off as co-op and yeah, then screw you all.
Yeah, then you just all turn on each other. I remember playing that game with you, and I was like, okay, well, obviously there's no way out, so I'm just gonna shoot this person and then jump out the window. And they was like, oh, you can't do that. But I was like, okay, well, I mean, otherwise the turns are over, and basically, you know, I'm done. So
So yeah, that's a shame, but I could see the appeal with other people, and I am interested, but I probably won't play it. I might watch some people play it.
now there is one particular game that I wouldn't say it was like I looked at it and was like, "Oh my god, I need to own this game." But there was this one particular game that not only caught my eye, but it actually made me kind of sit up in the chair, like, "Oh, okay, well this one." And it's called Concrete Genie, and it sounds weird, but I watched the trailer and it's this kid and he's kind of getting bullied and he does these drawings and all these drawings look like stuff that comes out of the book Where the Wild Things Are. And he does these drawings but he's getting bullied and finally somebody comes over. They take his notebook away and they tear the pages out of it, blah blah blah. So he runs off to this place by himself, and he ends up finding this kind of, it looks like a magic paintbrush, and then everything that he paints on the walls comes to life. So it was like, sometimes when you don't have any friends you have to make friends, like literally make them. And then
And it actually showed like the drawings following him along on the wall, and it looked like there were like actual gameplay elements, not just for fun. Like you'd have to use those graffiti monsters to direct them to do things for like puzzle stuff.
yeah, and then at some point he gets into another confrontation with these bullies and something weird happens. I can't quite make out what it is that's happening, but somehow he ends up in that drawing world, and there's some kind of darkness that's taken over, and it's turning all of those monster drawings like super evil. Like they're just straight black with red eyes, and just, I don't know. It looked really good. The art style
Hmm.
was unique, and out of all the games, I would have to say that one probably caught my attention the most. I honestly, I could care less about the Crash Bandicoot racing, but um, considering everything else they showed, it was probably the third most cared about on the list. Um, and of course, I'm pretty sure about by now everybody knows on the Switch with the Final Fantasy news. All the different Final Fantasy games coming to Switch. Basically, every Final Fantasy game except for Final Fantasy VIII, I think. They're not like remakes. Then they're not even really HD.
They're just ports of like the old original games. Like
Yeah,
now, Final Fantasy VII is officially available, and they but they did add a couple of different things, like you could speed up battles, turn off encounters, and battle enhancements. But I don't know what that means. They
so
didn't.
all what they did was they changed it from the PlayStation version to the PC version, because the PC version had the ability to speed up that, skip things. It actually has a tool in it where you can, you know, manipulate your characters to hit for 9,999 at level 1 if that's what you want. Um,
So then they have built-in cheats.
yeah, it's not necessarily. I mean, yeah, they
I mean, originally they were seen as cheats, but I mean, like, if you can alter that much,
yeah,
I
they're
guess.
they're quote unquote called trainers now. So not cheats, but like for somebody who wants to play it for story purposes, they can play right through it with slicing through bosses. You
Yeah,
know,
I probably would do that because I hate the action time battle system. I'm sorry, but I do.
well that one's turn based, so you're fine.
It's like regular turn based. They don't have that action bar that has to fill up before you do stuff, and as you're doing stuff, they're still attacking you.
No, no, not in Final Fantasy VII. I can't really speak for nine so much, just because.
Because if it is like that, then heck, I'll get the port on the Switch as soon as possible.
Yeah,
Because that's the main thing that holds me back.
I'm planning on getting my Switch next month. Which we've already talked about. I'm planning on like the Let's Go Pikachu or Let's Go Eevee and Octopath Traveler in my definites. But it will be nice to pretty much just be able to
Oh.
say I can stack my Final Fantasy collection onto the Switch as well. And not that I don't own them on every other console and computer, because I have them everywhere, but at least with the Switch, it gives me a way for them to be a little bit portable, because it's not
Hmm.
like, I mean, yeah, technically I could download from the PlayStation Store the original copies of 7, 8, and 9 onto my Vita or whatever, but I mean, why do that when I could play them on Switch and
Yeah, on the
switch
both
back
ways,
and
you can have TV or the portable.
yeah, I can switch back and forth. Literally
Switch,
switch.
haha.
Ha. So,
Oh, but speaking of that, also Final Fantasy 10 and 10 2. Is that how you say that?
mhm.
X is 10, right? No, Roman
Yeah.
numeral 2.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are actually getting remasters or remakes, one of those two, in like around April.
Okay. And that's probably just remastered just for the Switch, because they've already they released the HD remastered. I actually have it on. That's what I play on Fridays. Is Final Fantasy X remastered on the PS4, and I actually have it for the computer and for the Vita as well, because I am, regardless of how much trash I might talk about some of the newer generations of Final Fantasy, I'm still a Final Fantasy nerd at heart, and I pretty much collect everything Final Fantasy that I can get my hands on. I remember at one point there was a company a while back that made a bunch of Final Fantasy like action figures, and I had all of them. And still in the box, never took them out. Like I had Cloud, I had, Tifa and Aerith, and all. I was just a Final Fantasy nerd back in the day. So now I'm just a regular nerd.
I could say you're still a Final Fantasy nerd, just maybe not for the physical memorabilia.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely don't go all out on it like I did back then. But back then, when I was playing the game, I was so into it. Like I said, that was one of the first games that I ever played where I felt like I lived the game. Like I felt like I had gone through all the trials and tribulations, and that main character was not Cloud Strife, but was in fact yours truly, Titan's Revenge. Um, play, that the game was based around. So yeah, I was really into it.
Although, I guess still on the subject of the Switch, there's been a rumor flying around that this summer the Switch will get two different iterations. One more casual play, so possibly a bit cheaper, and some people think it might replace the 3DS, like officially,
Hmm.
and a quote gamer pro version, but there's no speculations about what that could mean,
Right.
really.
Right.
I
So
don't think that would mean including finally voice chat because Microsoft is actually the one that's going to be doing that with an app
yeah.
on the Switch.
So when you say casual, you mean like the pleb switch? like I don't know. Some people were speculating that it was just going to be a handheld only, like it wouldn't have the console part of it, which I mean,
It still seems kind of pointless to me because that's like in the Switch's name. The main drawing point is to switch between handheld and TV.
well, I mean,
But then again, if you take away that and you like sell it for only like $100 or something, well, more people could get it, I guess, who
yeah,
just like the handheld appeal.
and I guess that's kind of the same argument with the 3DS and the 2DS is like,
Hmm.
why buy a 2DS when you can just turn the 3DS, the 3D off, you know?
Hmm.
But there were people who, that obviously it had its reasons. Isn't the
I'm not
Switch
really sure what to think
too?
about the rumors. I mean, I wouldn't be too surprised if they did, because consoles or handhelds, especially from Nintendo, the handheld wise, they get a ton of different ones like Nintendo DS, Nintendo DS Lite, Nintendo DSi,
Hmm.
then 3DS, new 3DS, 3DS XL, quote, new 3DS.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised, but I don't really, I want to take it with a grain of salt.
Right. So in the chat they're saying isn't the Switch 2 coming out this summer? So it's not the Switch 2. And the Switch hasn't even been long enough to come out long enough to for them to even consider doing a Switch 2, I don't think. But
Yeah,
what
it's
what
just these two possible different versions that might appeal to a different group
right. So
and
they're
same
thinking,
price point.
yeah, they're thinking that there's a casual version and a pro version, is what's going to happen. So it's two different types of Switches that are supposed to come out this summer, supposedly. And I mean, at this point, it's all speculation, but I mean, you could pretty much guarantee that the pro version is going to be just like anything else. When the PS4 upgraded to PS4 Pro, when the Xbox One upgraded that one, that it's got some additional hardware and whatnot. And hopefully, the Switch will start having one of those features where it's like, oh yeah, you can stream directly to Twitch like all the other systems. But we
Yeah,
talked
that
about,
might be nice if it was in the pro version.
yeah, we talked about that earlier though. Nintendo's kind of weird when it comes to allowing people to
Online
live
stuff.
stream their stuff.
Hmm.
They're real protective over their copyrights, and so they don't even really like people. That's why you don't really see that. Most of their stuff is either through emulator or capture card,
Hmm.
and even with the three, it's not like they make a capture card specifically for those systems that was official. You had to special order them or have them hacked to be able to do it. So we'll see. I mean, I personally, I think they should open it up. I think they should allow people to stream to Twitch and YouTube or Facebook or whatever they want to, simply for the fact that, and we had this conversation the other day, was that you don't really see the commercials for games anymore. So
Hmm.
they live
It's
on,
free advertising.
right. They live on these Nintendo Direct and these state of plays and stuff to get the information out there about new and upcoming games. And what better way to convince somebody to buy a game than for somebody to be streaming it and somebody come in and see it and say, "Oh, I kind of like that game. What is it?" And then they go buy it. I mean, me personally, that's what I would do. Like if I was looking for what game I was going to buy next, I pretty much go to Twitch and see what people are playing, and then I go watch and see why they're playing it, and then if I like it, I go buy it. If I don't, I find something else to watch.
Yeah, it
Um,
might be the next best bet. If there isn't a demo for that game in particular or anything like that, because I feel like demos are still one of the better ways to do it since you get to personally play it yourself. No, I'm not doing this to attack you. Shut up.
hmm I'm personally attacked over here.
It's because it's like you actually get to see if it's comfortable for you to play it or if you even like the gameplay or anything. But seeing someone else with the actual gameplay and stuff does also say a lot about the game.
Sure, and you sometimes you just can't figure
Demo hater.
you just can't figure out everything from the demo whether you like the game or not. And you might I can't tell you how many times back in the day they would, especially when games were a lot shorter and less complex, where they'd be like, well, for the demo of this game you can play the whole first level, and you play the whole first level and it's fun, and then you go buy the game and the rest of the levels suck. Like it's like watching a movie trailer where they put all the best parts in the trailer and you go to the movie and it's like, okay, well, what the hell? So, um, yeah, I'm not a big fan of demos, just because, not just because of that, but because like every time that I have a demo and I'm like, hey, I want to, continue playing this game, but I can't afford to right now. So now I feel like, I'm kind of like torturing myself because I allowed myself to play it, get hooked on it, and now I can't afford to buy it yet.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, the demo salt.
But yeah. So what else? You had some more Nintendo Direct or some more Nintendo stuff, right?
Um, like I said, I had to have lots of tabs open because just so much I saw, and I wasn't sure who would be interested in what. But apparently, there's a fighting game coming up for the Switch called Samurai Showdown. It's spelled just without the W for Showdown. And apparently they actually had older games that I never heard.
Oh yeah, Samurai Showdown was like a fighting series like Street Fighter 2 and all
Yeah,
that.
I never knew about that. But I just looking at the art style, I'm like, this kind of reminds me of like Tekken or Street Fighter or something, but maybe just focus on the samurai aspect.
Oh, speaking of those fighting games, that does remind me. I haven't played Mortal Kombat since like Mortal Kombat 3, so I'm way out of the loop. But oh my god, I will have to say that new Mortal Kombat 11 trailer, where they're bringing the old versions, not like the old graphics, but like they've maintained and developed those characters over the last 20 years. They've made them look different and given them different styles. You can In the new one they're bringing back the old versions with a new, like the new graphics look, but that you could they're fighting each other. So like the new version of Liu Kang fighting the old version of Liu Kang, like where he wore the red and black pants and had the
Oh,
bandana from the 80s, so like, or from the 90s or whatever.
do they actually have any moveset changes too, or is it mostly just like appearance
Well,
changes?
because the move sets changed over time, the old ones will have their old move sets
Mm.
instead of
I was
all
gonna
the.
say it would definitely fighting blast from the past from the future ones.
Yeah, so hey, look, Paul Hebb's joined us in the chat. Yo, what up, Paul? Paul the legend.
Yo.
So, okay, yeah. So anyway, I just wanted to say like, and they used like Ice Cube and NWA stuff in the for the music for that Mortal Kombat trailer. So I thought that was pretty cool. But anyway, I probably won't get it. I'm not big on fighting games, but I just thought it was neat. It was like, they're like treating the old generation of Mortal Kombat characters as if they were part of a separate universe and now they've come together to fight each other in the new universe. So like versus their future selves. It was neat. I liked it. But I probably won't buy it. I'm thinking pretty hard that I'll probably end up getting that concrete genie though.
Hmm. I am pretty interested in it.
I wouldn't play a demo of it.
Mm. Yeah.
But all right. So what else do we got? What else?
Um, this isn't really related to Nintendo, but this is just something I wanted to get out of the way, and I guess one of the ones you didn't mention about all the VR games
Hmm.
from that PlayStation Switch, not Switch, direct copycat thing. Um, apparently, Five Nights at Freddy's is getting a VR
Oh,
game. If you weren't tired of hearing that yet, I don't know why people want horror games in VR. It's like, okay, I want to terrify myself by playing this horror game in the dark
yeah.
with complete silence, and then okay, I'm gonna play this horror game in the dark in my own living room with a VR headset, and then I'm gonna soil my pants. Sounds fun.
Yeah, I didn't even bring it up because when I was watching it, I was like, oh God, if she sees this. But
Yeah, just from seeing freaking an animatronic on accident while just reading the Wikipedia to see people's like speculation about what the story is. I
hmm
saw a screenshot of it and I freaking wouldn't go in my own closet for 3 weeks. I had trouble sleeping. I have issues,
well,
dang it.
well, it's so funny because that's a game that's obviously a jump scare game as it is, and doing that kind of thing in VR, like, I mean, sure, if you're a person who's really into horror games and you want those jump scares, I guess there's no better way to do it than to turn around and have a freaking mechanical teddy bear lunge at you, lunge at your face. But I personally, like, I would probably have a heart attack and die.
Yeah.
But that's just because I'm old. So, like, maybe if I was like 16 or so, it wouldn't bother me
Mm.
so bad. But
I mean, it's like probably people, like we said, we can't really force people into understanding why I love all these chill games or whatever. So I mean, to each their own with the horror game. Just don't make me do it, because then I might accidentally punch you in the face
yeah.
out of reaction.
And speaking of chill games, I'm still like every few days like I'm googling it and I'm just trying. I still can't find any new updates or news about Relegend, and it's
Oh, I
it's.
recently saw something about a monthly update, but it was just mostly about like another NPC or something.
Hmm.
So I mean, it was somewhat recent.
Yeah,
But I want release date.
I know it's worrying me. Um, because I hope they don't like try to do too much and get in so far over their head that it never gets released because they feel like they can never get it ready because they're constantly adding new stuff or whatever. I hope that's not what the
Mhm.
issue is. Um,
I mean, it might be taking extra time also since they did hit, I think, every single stretch goal.
yeah,
Oh,
and that's something that we'll get to talk about next week because that's something that's like super impressive anyway. Is the fact that you there have been some very successful funded Kickstarter games that have come out and just kicked ass. And we actually get to talk to somebody who ran a successful campaign and now have a game out because of it. Um,
oh yeah, I have played the Pokemon Mystery Dungeon games ever since they were out for the DS and the Game Boy Advance. I haven't really finished most of them though. I did finish the first one. Sorry to interrupt, but
no, you're
I
fine.
forgot to sign in on Twitch, so I couldn't respond in the chat. Dang, I'm super derp today. So yeah, I like the Pokemon Mystery Dungeon games. They can be surprisingly hard for me, but I don't know. I think it's just kind of like how you like playing those little quizzes, and they'll tell you what Pokemon you are. And
Hmm.
I like how it wasn't like all the popular ones. Like you could be a Cubone and a Machop when it first started, like random common ones. And some of their stories were actually pretty good. Like I know I was younger then, but when I beat the final boss in like the very first Pokemon Mystery Dungeon for like the Game Boy Advance or something, I'm pretty sure I was at a disadvantage because I was trying to beat up Rayquaza as a Machop, but I finally did it. And I actually remember kind of crying a little bit at where the story was going near the end. I'm probably just gonna spoil it, so don't listen if you don't want to hear it, because it's probably easier to explain why I need to justify myself instead of just being all weenie. Um, but you're turning into a Pokemon, you're all confused about where you are, but you found really good friends, and even though you defeated Rayquaza, or Rayquaza, however you say it, you found a way to return to the human world, but as you're kind of like leaving, your character's thinking about it is like, wow, I really have all these bonds with all these new friends, and they treat me better than probably any friends I had back home, but you probably can't remember because amnesia. But I'm
Hmm.
just gonna say it's because I was a little kid and even more weenie-ish. But I was like sobbing, and I was so happy that they decided to stay. And the
Mm.
story went into interesting turns for Pokemon Explorers of Time and Darkness, and Explorers of Sky was pretty much a combination of the two. So yeah.
Yeah, well, I can't say that I've ever played any of the Mystery Dungeon ones. I did watch back when I first started on Twitch. Like, I wasn't even thinking about ever streaming. I was actually watching a person play the Pokemon Mystery Dungeon on Twitch, and I was like, it's all
Which one
right.
was it? Do you remember?
I don't remember. I think it was
Okay.
one for the DS, to be honest.
Okay, it could have been any one of those then, because the only newer ones, to my knowledge, after Explorers of Sky, which is for the DS, the 3DS ones were Gates to Infinity, which was pretty disappointing compared to the other ones, and they even took out the fun quiz option, so you just pick what you are, which is no fun. But then, after that, they did, what the heck? They did another one after that, but I can't remember the subtitle. And I remember taking like the quiz for it, and I ended up being Riolu, but I didn't finish it. It's another thing I gotta go back to. But I think that at least they put the quiz thing back. I just think it's fun. Like I'm such a pushy loser. I think I even started a new game like 5 times just to ask 5 people to take the quiz, so I'll tell them what they were. I think I made you do it too, but I don't remember what you were.
I
I was
know.
like, okay, I'm gonna delete my save and start over because I wasn't far anyway. So you can do the quiz and I'll find out what you are, even
Mm,
though you're not playing. Totally not a waste of time.
yeah, right. Speaking of, did you go get your free game from Epic now that Slime Rancher went off and the other one went on?
What is the new one?
I can't remember now, but hold on, I'll go look. It was Oxenfree. The one I
I'm
told you where the girl they like get on an island and then find out that it's haunted and it was talking about like some paranormal weird activity. It was kind of a weird thing. And starting on April 4th, so next Thursday, the game The Witness is free on there.
so pretty much both of those are like adventure games, point and
Hmm.
click or something.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, Oxenfree kind of looked like I don't know if you remember ever seeing screenshots from this game called This Little War of Mine,
Hmm.
where it's
I
kind of
did.
sideways, like
Side scrolling.
kind of. It looked a
Well,
lot like that.
I might look at Oxenfree. I'm just not sure because I get interest in those kind of adventure games, but usually when you have to think more and get the right stuff to progress, I usually make the wrong choices and I don't make it.
I mean, I
But at the
just
same time, I tried the Forgotten End demo, and I actually really like it because it even looks like the Studio Ghibli film with
sure.
the anime art style and the
Well,
story.
well, my thing is this. I mean, the game's free, so if you don't like it,
Mm.
you just uninstall it. It still stays in your library, so if you ever decide to want to come try it again, you can always re-download it.
I
Um,
guess I'll do that after this then.
Yeah, so and that's the thing is I kind of go around and a lot of these sites that Humble Bundle, Epic stuff. In fact, Humble Bundle had a game on there the other day that was free that I never heard of. Don't even remember what it was now, and I was like, "Yep, I'm uh I'm grabbing this just because, even if I
Oh
never
my
play it,
god!
even if I never play it." And
That's intense. I'm kind of glad I didn't play that game.
oh
You
yeah, on
said
this war
when
of
you said
mine.
before mine, you had to take out a granny with a shovel.
Yeah, yeah, that's it.
I am not strong enough for this game.
That's it. It was called Tacoma, and I went ahead and downloaded it. I have no idea what the game's about. I was like, hey, but it's free, right?
Mm.
Turns out that's not a Steam game. That's one that
Oh,
you can actually download it, and it's in a zip file or whatever, and then you install it that way, and you can just reinstall it, uninstall it, how whatever you want. It's one of those. It's what they call a DRM free, but because it wasn't released through like Steam or anything like that, it doesn't require being installed and run through one of those clients or whatever. It's just a standalone. So that I was like, okay, I guess that's kind of cool, right? Um, but yeah, so right now Oxenfree is free on Epic, and then damn, The Witness starting next week. And
do you
so
remember anything about The Witness? Like, is it another kind of adventure puzzle game?
I think, yeah, I think so. I remember when The Witness came out. I remember people talking about it and asking me if I had ever played it, which I haven't. But I I want to say it's kind of in the same realm of like the game Life is Strange, kind of. Not so much in like you know choose your own adventure, but yeah, like the puzzles.
Hmm.
So
I
um,
remember the title of The Witness, but I don't remember anything else about it.
yeah, and I think it's exactly that. Is you witness something, you witness something, and then it's
Are the
about
cops after you or something?
no, I think it's on like a stranded island or something. I have to look more into it. It's a weird game. I've never actually like gone into detail looking at it, but
Hmm. Okay.
I forget where I got it from a couple weeks ago, but I also got Mad Max for free, which that was like a AAA title a couple of years ago, and found
Again,
that
I don't remember anything about it but the title.
Mad Max that was more like
Yeah.
a open world um, action game. It was based on the movies, like the old movies from the '80s and stuff, but eh, it was okay. I mean, I'm always down for some free games. I'm waiting for I I mean I already have the game, but I'm waiting for like games like Graveyard Keeper to go free so that more people will play it, because I want to be able
Yeah.
to talk to people about Graveyard Keeper, and I've know like 3 people who have played that game,
Yeah.
and it's so good.
Was
It's
it gonna
just
put it to the Switch eventually, or is it just a rumor? Because I would definitely get it for the Switch.
um
Because like graveyard farming, sort of.
oh no, that one's supposed to be coming to everything. Um
Mm.
but it was just crazy because that was a game that I hadn't heard about, but I watched the trailer for it, and the trailer was funny. It said funny stuff, and it had this donkey like talking back to you and stuff, and then I just saw the one scene where he's walking through like what looks like these endless fields of wheat and grain, and I was like, okay, this looks kind of cool actually. There's definitely some faults, and the game is very troll. Like the troll level in that game is super high. Like they talk about the town all the time, but you can never go to the town. Like it's never there. You can't. It doesn't actually exist. It's not part of the game. but they always talk about all the cool things you can get from going into town, but the town is not a playable part of the game. So, and it's super grindy. Like,
The
it
thing I hate the most is that they tried to use a really weird daily calendar thing, and I couldn't ever remember what day it was.
yeah, well, like I said, as long as you remembered which day the actual sun fell on, it was pretty easy. And ironically, I'm pretty sure the sun meant Saturday, not Sunday. But as long as you knew that the sun was Saturday, you could figure it out. Uh, but yeah, there was a lot of things about that game that are weird, but it is a good game overall. I really like it, and
I
it
just keep remembering what the skeleton sounds like when he talks. Blip 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 blip.
yeah, that was just the head. Yo, what's up, Freaky Wolf?
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, Graveyard Keeper. What was it? Slime Rancher was the one that was free a couple weeks ago, and I did go ahead and pick that up. But all I know about that game was when it came out, I immediately bought it for you
Mhm.
and watched you play it because you were just making like all these like slime cats and like cats and chickens and stuff out of
Yeah,
slime, and it looked really fun, but it was in such an early access back then. In fact, I remember saying, I was like, you know how I am. I don't like purchasing games anymore when they're in early access because we've been burned before.
yeah,
And but I that one I was like, okay, and I got to watch you play that one a little bit. So
yeah. I almost lost my entire stock of chickens because I didn't know the cat slimes could jump over the fence I had at the time. So I kind of panicked. I'm like, oh my god, no!
yeah. And eventually, I will actually get around to playing Slime Rancher. But right now, um, my schedule for streaming, of course, we just had Mondays open up because we're end of the Pokemon giveaway era. But I won't say that it's gone for good because I still have a Professor Oak sponsorship. They're gonna send codes. Eventually, there will be stuff to give away, but it's just not gonna be. It might be more like a once a month thing. It's just I had a lot of fun doing it. We met a lot of great people, great community. I'm pretty
Mhm.
sure I thanked everybody for that on stream yesterday, and but it is the end of that era, and so and we may start scheduling some stuff for Tuesday besides the podcast itself, but the podcast is usually the definite. And of course, you guys know Wednesdays I'm doing Weeb Wednesdays, so it could be anything. Right now it's Persona 5, but at some point it could be Nino Kuni, it could be Neptunia, it could be all kinds of things.
Mm.
Um, Thursday, day off, not doing anything on Thursdays. Friday is Final Fantasy. Yeah. Although last week's schedule got kind of messed up because there was like I was like a day off and then slept an entire Saturday.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, so a lot of different changes coming to the stream. But as far as the podcast, we're going pretty solid. We've got some really solid guests next week with Dan and Christina from Bit and Toast Games, which did Garden Pulse, and then we have sometime later this month. We'll probably be talking with Manco, who is a one-trick pony Teemo player. We'll probably be talking with him about, and he's like one of the highest ranked Teemo players in the world. By the way, he's like always in the top 5. So he's been playing it for a long time, and he's really good at the game. And then I think at some point we're gonna have Sean O'Rourke on. I don't know if we're gonna have to pre-record his though or not because of his
Mhm.
schedule with filming. But Sean O'Rourke is a film and television actor who also did some voiceover for a lot of animes. American versions, American dubs,
Mhm.
English dubs, and
English.
yeah,
Still not really
tortilla.
accurate.
Um, so yeah, he's gonna
If
come
you
on as
haven't shared that in the chat, I think you have to. It's like the funniest thing.
all right. I mean I'll do this. You won't be able to hear it, but I'll,
Mhm.
I'll play it because it is kind of quick. So
Less than a minute.
it'll just be the audio, but we found this video that just cracks us up. Um, about this guy doing English
Japanese pronunciations for
English.
English named things.
Yeah, and it's hilarious. So I'm gonna play that right now. As a matter of
How to
fact.
pronounce. How to pronounce different locations. How to pronounce different objects. Car names. 이선우 맥시머라 포드 F를 150를 지프를 Volkswagen을 제구원을. How to pronounce different car names. 토요타를 캠리 마스두르 3 Volkswagen을 제트라. How to pronounce different car names. 헌드르 현다이 Volkswagen을 닛산을 파스파인더를 nailed it. How to pronounce different foods. 바나나 찬 카와이 마핀을 organic를 조치르르르르. How to pronounce different games. Grand Theft Auto, Super Smash Bros. Blake Planet. How to pronounce different objects. Washing machine, microwave chan, MacBook Pro.
Okay, so
Just I can't even hear it or see it, and I'm already thinking it's the Ferrero Rocher.
and yeah, the Ferrero Rocher one. So here's the thing.
Oh my
It's
god.
it's definitely a lot funnier if you see the video to see what
Mm.
things he's pronouncing. Because if you can't really,
If you can't understand him because he's botching it so much or making it so.
yeah. So well, it's an Asian guy doing it. So
Yeah.
what he's saying is he's in fact I think he lives in Canada. So you
Yeah,
know, some of the
there you
stuff
go.
that he's pronouncing is only like Tim Hortons. He's pronouncing like different types of cars, like Jeeps and Volkswagens and whatnot. And it's hilarious. It's I don't know. I came across it on. I think the guy used to do vines, so he would do like these little 6 second vines of how to pronounce, and somebody took them and put them all together in one video, and
Ugh,
it does crack me up. And I found it again
I'm
this
crying a
morning,
little.
and I sent it to her, and yeah.
Mm. For- Mm.
So I'm Canadian.
Ferrero Rocher. Ferrero-
Yeah, he says he's offended as a Canadian.
Oh.
Um. So yeah, but anyway, yeah, what's up, Tevi? As far as like any new gaming stuff, I mean, obviously we'll try to keep you guys updated. But most of the time, a lot of this stuff is gonna come out and then we'll have to cover it on the following podcast.
Yeah, like if you do another Nintendo Direct type of cover, like the official Nintendo Direct, if it comes out afterwards, it's probably a safer bet we'll do it the following week.
Hmm.
Whether or not people have seen it, we'll still do it. So it will probably be weird to affect the schedule and like do it the next day, just because that's when it's live. I mean, I thought about it just because actual, real, reactions and stuff like
Sure.
that.
Well, most of the time, I think it's better that we cover it later so that like everybody's had a chance to see it and we can kind of give our opinion rather than just kind of walking through it like before. So, but I mean, what we did before when we just kind of broke the video down, let it play, and then talk, and then let it play. Like, I mean, that's cool, but there was definitely some stuff in there that really wasn't necessarily worth discussing. I mean, it was cool to get a reaction, I guess, for us seeing it for the first time or whatever. Um, but
Yeah.
I think kind of like what happened with the PlayStation, state of play. Like, there's no way I want to sit through that whole video again. It really just wasn't worth it. There was three titles out of it, and that's just giving one a free pass because it's Crash Bandicoot, and I don't really
Mm,
like that either. But it's one of their mascots, so it would be
yeah.
like Sega putting out something new with Sonic the Hedgehog. Um,
And I saw some people's opinions saying like m- they thought they were too reserved with it, like they were afraid to reveal too much since it's like their first time doing it. Maybe they thought
well,
so.
I'm sure that's the case, but I mean, also PlayStation's got a lot of questions that need to be answered based on stuff that's happened in the past few months that they haven't really addressed. Which is, yeah, they talked a little bit about it, but now that they've stopped 100% as of December, they have halted all production related to the PlayStation Vita.
Mm-hmm. I
What's
think even in
next?
Japan.
Yeah,
Yeah.
what's next? What are people gonna do? As far as is another type of handheld coming out, or is the speculation about the PS5 being a hybrid console, kind of like the Switch? Are they really that desperate to copy Nintendo? I mean, yes, they just did State of
Mhm.
Play. They're copying the Direct. Why wouldn't they copy the format of something?
Something that works and gets them a ton of views and hype.
And I'm not
Most.
downing PlayStation at all. Like, here's my thing. Anybody that knows anything about me, I grew up a Nintendo guy. I briefly switched over to Sega Dreamcast because I really liked that system. But when it came to the newer generation consoles, I went Microsoft. I went Xbox. I went Xbox 360. And when it finally came time to decide on these newer consoles, I actually, even though there was a part of me that was like, well, you've been an Xbox this entire time, stick with Xbox. Um, I completely ditched Xbox after that E3 reveal when they talked about having to constantly be connected to the internet, and the webcam having to be like, and I know they reneged on all that, but they the fact that they even thought about doing all that just completely turned me off. And I immediately decided to go with PlayStation, and they it hasn't disappointed. I mean, they've got some great games on there and stuff. Um, but I how much life does the PS4 have left in it right now? And that's the important question. Is like there's a lot of people who just back in October, November, dropped $400 or $500 on the PlayStation 4 Pro bundle
Hmm.
because of Red Dead Redemption 2, and it's not even 6 months later, and you've already canceled the Vita stuff, and you're hinting at a PlayStation 5 already, and yet these people just bought a PS4 Pro. So there are a lot of people that are kind of like, yo, answer some questions, like what's going on.
Yeah,
Um,
there's. I think there's the most speculation was that maybe the PlayStation 5 would get more information at the next E3.
yeah. Well, one thing I will say that they need to get back on top of is, why did you wait till I bought, buy back into PlayStation to stop your backwards compatibility? Like, I don't like that. I don't like that one a bit. Um,
Mm-hmm.
So, even the PlayStation 3, the first ones that came out were backwards compatible with PlayStation 2 and 1, and PlayStation 2 was backwards compatible with 1, and I buy a PS4, and they're like, yeah, screw backwards compatibility, but guess who's got the backwards compatibility now? Xbox. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
come on, man. So, what can you do? But I'm hoping, in a
They're
way,
hinting that the PlayStation 5 might have some backwards compatibility, but it's not like it's super credible, just like some things here and there, being hopeful.
yeah. And
And also, to what extent will it be backwards compatible? Like, can I play my PlayStation 3 and 4 Blu-ray discs? Probably not.
here's another question. Can I play Vita games on it?
Hmm.
I mean, it's not very often that you see where things can be like, okay, well, obviously, like the Switch isn't going to be backwards compatible to play with the 3DS. It just doesn't work that way. But if you're telling me that the PlayStation 5 might possibly be a hybrid system that's, halfway portable, then let me transfer my Vita collection over to that, since you're no longer playing Vita, making Vita stuff. Let me be able to do something with my Vita games on this new portable handheld that's probably going to have a bigger screen.
Yeah, and the main thing is that if they do try to copy the Switch and make it like part home console and part portable, I could see it more happening in that case.
Yeah. It's per game, and they have individual updates. I mean, I get that, but at least they have something. And I could make the argument that yes, I could go into the PlayStation Store, and I can download PS1 games and PS2 games to my hard drive on the console and play them that way. But I mean, that's no different than playing them on an emulator, because actually that's exactly what it is. It's an emulation built into the system allowing you to do that, legally, of course. But I would like to. I have the so here's the thing that kills me. All right, so I could go on the PS4 store and buy what PS3 copy of Red Dead Redemption, the first one, and would that allow me to be able to stream it from the PS4? Probably. But why can't I just pop in my Red Dead Redemption disc and do the exact same thing? If it has the capability of playing the game, whether it's downloaded or like why couldn't you just put that one thing of code in there where it could just read that PS3 disc? That's all I'm saying. Yeah, I mean the cell microprocessor that was used, I get it, but like if it can play the older games from downloading them to the hard drive from the store, then it's basically just a disk thing. It's the same content on the disk that's in the digital data, minus the boot up codes, pretty much. Um, yeah, I mean, yeah, they probably will resell games from the Vita, and it's gonna go the way of the PSP, and we've talked about that before too. The PSP just kind of sold itself out to one niche audience. It tried to go after only JRPG people. For me, that was great, but for the average consumer, they got tired of seeing JRPG titles, and that was the end of that. Um, and Vita kind of started doing the same thing. I noticed you
Mm-hmm.
go into any GameStop,
JRPGs and dungeon crawlers at
yeah.
the wazoo.
Plus, go into any GameStop or used game place, they'll have hundreds of console games, and you'll be lucky if there's 10, maybe 15 Vita games to choose from.
In our game, they're not even in the actual like display part of the store. You have to ask them and take them from the back. They're so little.
Yeah, that was so weird because they used to have them out on display, and I remember when we went to the one in your mall, and I actually had to go up and ask the guy. I was like, "Where are your Vita games?" He's like, "Oh, we keep them in the back now." So he brought it out, and there was literally maybe 10, 15 games that,
Mm-hmm.
like, there might have been like 20 cartridges, but like a couple of them were duplicates. But I mean, and none of them were like decent games. And they were like, the what is it, like Little Deviants, and a couple of Lego games and stuff like that. I mean, it was nothing crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, it is what it is. I just hope that you know they'll let everybody know something soon about what the plans are, because it was kind of a it was kind of a shitty move, to s- sell all these PS4 Pros at Red Dead Redemption 2 release, as a package deal, and finally have this quote unquote pro machine to less than a year start talking about the next console. And I mean, business is business. They got to move fast or whatever and stay with the competition. But I mean, it has been a while. The PS4 has been out for a long time. It's been out for at least 6 years. So
Dang.
I don't know what the average lifespan of most consoles are. Yo, what's up, God Complex? I don't know what the average lifespan of most consoles are, but I will say that, like, I I I understand it being about time for a new PlayStation, but I just wish they would give a little bit more answers. What are your thoughts on game streaming if they get around the latency problem? Um, I'm not sure what you mean. Cause are you talking about on
You
PS4?
mean like their cloud streaming service?
Oh, you mean like where you don't physically own the game, you just like play it from a cloud? I thought he meant like streaming it to Twitch or something. I was like, there's no latency issue there. um, I the ones where it's like the play the games from a cloud kind of thing. I mean, I don't think they'll ever get rid of that latency issue unless every single person on the planet is upgraded to fiber, and you live
Yeah.
within X amount of miles from the server. I think that's always going to be an
Yeah, and a whole
issue.
bunch of people with very limited bandwidth or limited internet capabilities, so it'd be a big slap to the face to them. They'll never be able to really do it, but I don't know how much the market is in it for like Google Stadia and other streaming type things or subscription services.
Well,
Like I even heard there's going to be an Apple Arcade subscription game service somehow.
also, that brings to point another thing, and I know we're going a little bit over the time here, and it doesn't really matter. It's not like we're regulated by the FCC or anything. So, that brings me to that one site where it's like, oh, you don't have a nice gaming computer.
Oh
Well,
yeah,
you can use,
Shadow or something,
yeah,
wasn't it?
shadow play. You can use our gaming computer to play the game, and you're connected to their server playing. Yo, I don't, the delay between the time you push a button and what actually happens on their screen and then comes back to you, the delay is so high. I don't understand how anybody could play. I can't believe, unless it's just local people that live like literally on the same block as the server, I don't see how anybody could
Yeah.
play a game that
If
has.
anything, it sounds enticing at first because, I had never had high spec computer or anything. So I stick to consoles because it's easier that way if they're released. But they're like, oh, you can play high spec games on high on even your old computer right now because you use our resources. But
Yeah,
then I guess the execution is too hard to really do it
well,
to
luckily,
how the consumer will like it.
luckily on one of the last streams, it's Harmon Prime, sponsoring you to get a new laptop at some point, so you won't have to worry about that. But yeah, I mean, I was complaining about the original delay when I first set up remote play on PS4 because I was doing remote play from PS4 to the PC and capturing that for some of the games, but it felt like, when I would push the button, there was like this brief couple of milliseconds of delay. It didn't seem like a lot until you got into a fight or something and then realized that, you press block, but it didn't go in time and you get hit anyway, and stuff like that. And that was just over, a PS4 and a computer that are less than 4 feet from each other. So the further they got away, the more that would be. Now, since then, of course, I've settled all that with an Ethernet cable, and everything's pretty much instant. There's still like a slight split millisecond delay, but nothing big enough to really affect anything. So when you start talking about basically playing these games through a proxy computer, like the relay time to go from your button push to their computer to their game back to their computer and then that whole broadcast coming to your computer to where you could see it, um, the time it would literally be like me going on Discord and doing a screen share and allowing you access to my PC to play a game on my computer while watching yourself play it on the screen on Discord. The delay from what would be happening on my screen to what you would actually be seeing would be so long. I mean, even, yeah, just build a PC with Zydax. But like, even right now, like take this stream for instance. So you guys listening are hearing everything about 30 seconds, maybe more, a little less, maybe like 15, 20 seconds after we've already said it. And there's been too many times where I'd be playing a game and somebody will be like, "Oh, go that way. Go to your right." But I've already went left and down a hallway, and now when it pops up and says go to the right, I don't know if you mean go to the right on that hallway or go back to where I was and go right over there because there's that much delay. Yo, what's up, Vigo? What's up, not Dolphin Knight? Um, so, uh, there, just in streaming alone, there's that little bit of delay. So imagine trying to play an entire game through somebody else's proxy, and I just can't see how those. How could you play a game like Overwatch or even something like League of Legends when timing is everything? Like you wouldn't be able to ever land a skill shot because the delay would be so bad.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of a noob with all that kind of stuff. I just stick to consoles and handhelds because I'm a computer derp.
Yeah,
Many other derpy things grouped together.
that's okay. But yeah, so anyway, that's kind of neither here nor there. I mean, the future of what we're gonna get on consoles and stuff. To me, I've just felt like the gaming PCs have been the way to go. I'll just continue to own both, and build uh build the PC as needed, keep replacing and redoing things to make sure I can keep up with the latest games and whatnot, and then that way I don't really have to worry about being counted out of the loop or spending $35 a month to play through a low latency proxy or whatever. So Atomic Prime says he has an old gaming laptop he doesn't use. Nice. Where do you want to donate that to? Free laptop giveaway on Atomic Prime stream.
Hmm.
Build your own Nintendo Switch. I mean, I sure. I just plug my 3DS into the TV and there you go. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Unless you had some more stuff you wanted to talk about.
I have more tabs open, but really it's just the main three things I want to mention as the last thing, if anything.
Okay.
Um, there has been slight hints that level 5's The Snack World might be getting localized in the West, and it came out in Japan for the 3DS and the Switch, I think, 2 or 3 years ago. I'm not really sure if it's really official or people are just seeing things like, oh my god, it's gonna get low. But I'm not really sure because with how that game worked, when I was reading updates about it, they made it kind of like interact with these toys or keychains. Not that those games never worked out here, because Skylanders was surprisingly popular and stuff like that. So, yeah, possibly the Snack World might come to the West, which I'm kind of watching here and there, but not too much. I'd honestly rather just an official Fantasy Life 2.
Well, you
So
you know you got to get back to playing Fantasy Life One.
yeah, I know, the regular Fantasy Life. Right now, Nuzlocke is kind of destroying my soul. I don't know why I do it.
You and
Um,
your Nuzlocks.
yeah, I don't enjoy it, really, so I don't know why I do it. And yet, as I'm doing this one on Fire Red, I'm thinking about I can't wait to get to newer generation ones where they have the better experience share a lucky egg give that they give out so that I can grind not lose my mind doing it. So the other two things, um, this is like a free game on itch.io or something. It's apparently called the Marshmallow Day Spa. It's super cute, and the article isn't actually very long, so I'll just probably read it right from that.
Okay.
So, looking for some time to relax and just take it easy? Well, pick up a mug of your favorite hot chocolate and enjoy some time at the Marshmallow Day Spa. In this minigame brought to life by 4 developers, you are a marshmallow that runs a day spa and fills jacuzzis with hot chocolate for other marshmallows. You run and jump while collecting different milks, chocolates, and toppings to put into each customer's private spa, which is probably just a mug. Combining all these ingredients makes the perfect cup of hot chocolate and leaves the customer happy and relaxed. The game has a nice relaxing charm to it and is very simple, and it's good to play for a couple minutes or whatever. But yeah, it's free on where the heck is it? This thing? In case you want to share, I'm going to put it in our thing because I forgot to log in.
Way to go.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, it's a cute little free game, and it really makes me want some hot chocolate.
That's funny. So, free game.
And the very last one, it's a bit longer, but I could read some stuff from there too, because I'm not sure how much I remember.
Yeah, go
But
for
there's
it.
a game called
I said, yeah, go for it.
Oh, okay. A game called Hako Life or Hoku Life. I'm not sure. It says Animal Crossing meets Lego, and they say that's a reasonable way of thinking about it. And it's gonna be made by one developer, and Hako Life captures what most of what makes Animal Crossing special, a game where you decide what to do, where your creativity is the only limit. Robert stated, the person who I assume is just making the game by himself, stated that the player will be given the power to create furniture, cakes, flower decorations, and more through an intuitive construction kit. They want to make it simple but also very versatile and offer lots of options. And it is like Animal Crossing where there are even animal villagers around. And there's going to be gardening, fishing, decorating, chopping down trees, and there's going to be a mine and a forest for resources. A lot of customization and cute stuff to do. And when they say Animal Crossing with Lego, it kind of reminds me of when they tried to first bring out My Sims. They cutesy-fied The Sims and kind of made building blocks to build stuff for the villagers to help them out. So I mean, I'm all for it. Anything that takes inspiration from Animal Crossing is usually pretty good in my book. But it's being only made by one person, and I haven't seen anything other than this little chat or blog thing. So yeah, I think it could be pretty cute.
And you would know she is the cute game collector.
I love cute and mellow games. I need them.
Yep. So, um, and speaking of cute games, I'll just remind everyone again: next Tuesday at 3 p.m. we'll be on here with the developers of Garden Paws. And if you haven't had a chance to check it out, you can check out Garden Paws on Steam. They do have a free downloadable demo that I actually did play before buying the game. And
See, it helps at times.
hmm and then they'll talk
I
about
know I didn't check it out yet. I'll try to remember to check that out too.
some of the new updates and things that they just released, plus the stuff that they're working on. And yeah, it's all good. Vigo, you missed out. We gave out all the cards yesterday, all of them. All the inties are now gone. Um, there was a bunch of them. They're gone. Actually, somebody in the chat, not Dolphinite, has them, so you can get them from not Dolphinite. I'm sure they won 20 of them. um, so yeah. Next week, the devs from Garden Paws, and I'm pretty excited about that. So I'll make sure you guys tune into that one. And I don't know. I may do a stream later. I haven't decided yet. Like I thought about it.
To show off the Creativerse stuff since that was on topic as we played.
Yeah, I thought about doing a Creativerse stream, but that game, as much as I like that game, it has this weird stuttering issue, and it's had that since the beginning. Um, it's not all the time, but it's enough to be annoying. And I don't know how well it'll do while streaming. But also, there was one other thing about that game. The last time I played it, they did this update to where whenever you end up attacking or fighting a monster, it goes to third person point of view now. So you actually like
Oh.
see your character, and it's very disorienting because you play the
Yeah,
game
there
and
should be a way to turn that off.
yeah, and I think there is, but I haven't found it yet, and I have Creativerse Pro. So, but anyway, it was very disorienting because you're first person, and then you run up on something and you go to attack it, and all of a sudden you're in third person, and you're actually having to do different things than what you do in first person to attack and dodge and whatnot. So it's just weird. But I'll look
Mm.
into it. I might open it up on the computer and see if they've re-optimized it or done anything different that helps the game play a little smoother. But if not, I don't know. I may come back later with something random just to, because if I end up just playing a game anyway, I might as well stream it, right?
Mhm.
So, but on that note, we're actually out of here. We're done with the podcast for today. And thank you guys for coming in and joining
Mhm.
and
Thank you.
listening to us ramble and bitch and complain about every new thing that comes out because we're just stuck in our old ways. And but no, hopefully next week we'll have or not next week, but week after next. That'll give it like 2 weeks to maybe drop some more news on us for upcoming games and whatnot, and we can discuss. Do I have any
Yeah.
cats? I kind of do. He's been an outside cat for like 10 years.
Ever.
Yeah. So he just kind of comes and goes. He's about 20 years old though. He's nearing the end of his. He's lived a lot longer than we thought he would ever live. So, but other than that, I have no pets. Adopt him? No, he's already my cat. Like I I've had him since he was born. He's just been out. He when he was a kitten, we took him to the vet after he was born, and was old enough, and found out that he had anemia, and he was not supposed to ever really go outside because if he got cut or scratched, he could technically bleed to death. And as he got older, he was just would not stay in the house. If he tried to open the door to check the mail, he would shoot outside and he'd be out there for 3 4 days. Come back with half his ear missing and fighting all the neighborhood cats and everything else. And then he got to where he just wouldn't come inside at all. Now he just comes inside to eat and then goes back out. But I've had him. He was born in the floor of a closet in a room in the house when the mama cat, which was our original cat, gave birth. So we've had him almost 20 years. So he's an old cat. True adventurer, that's right. Coming back with all the battle scars. So yeah, I'm gonna let you guys go. Let me see. Let me. Who can I toss a host over to? Should I toss a host over to Solarith or even God? Yeah, let's do Solarith. He's still doing a giveaway. His mom just passed away recently, and he's had a lot of battles with cancer and stuff. So he looks like he's playing some League of Legends. So I'm gonna send you guys over there and show him some love. We'll talk to you guys again soon.